Hello. So I just thought I would record a sort of video guide really quick on how to make a map, because I've been figuring out a few things this week with isometric maps. I'm using Epic isometric assets and some of the Dungeon Sketcher assets as well from Patreon. I was testing with grape juice isometric, but kind of moved away from that for the moment because of the bugs, and I'm just using the default Foundry but with isometric maps. So I'm going to show you how to make an isometric map. We're going to do that. So for the moment, I'll just run through. This is my landing page, by the way, for my Drakkenheim campaign. I created this, so the assets on it, all of these are basically clickable tiles. So we've got like Foundry, rather like faction reputation icons, these each of the sort of 6 factions I have in my game, and the little sliders can go up and down depending on, you know, how well the players are making friends with them. So the other icons on here, we have like a little gold bag, opens their stash, all of their stuff. Just behind my face, we've got a little candle, opens information about the sacred flame, which is like the deity, prime deity in this world. Each of these little sort of cards here, these are the player characters. So each one of these opens their journal. We have Luca Cecilia, one of my players, God bless her. She takes detailed notes. She's the type of player that every table needs. So exactly the reason why I added these, you know, some of these other ones have nothing in them, but you know, don't look at that man behind the curtain. Okay. So the rest of these, I mean, we got some details on Delirium, the meteor, the stuff that happened in the world. So journals, basically, they open. The other ones here, Delirium mutation, get the facts. Yeah. So this talks about Gainsbury Expeditionary Supply Company. So if we tap on this one, this will take us to the Emberwood isometric map where you can visit Gainsbury. And it's this little dude over here. So Gainsbury Expeditionary Supply. If I double click this, it's a shop. And this is using Monk's Journal. Players can go in here and buy and sell stuff. You can put a flag on it so that they need your permission before they buy something. But for most of the vendors, I just have it on, you know, they can buy without my permission. If it's in the store, then they're free to buy it. These vendors, so we've got like a few here, there's 4 here. Neff Monroe sort of sells alchemy stuff and guns. He's like a local detective. And Aldor the Immense, humongous mountain of a man. I kind of imagine him being like One Piece big, you know, where he's just massive in every scale imaginable compared to everyone else. His shop is mostly magic items. Mask of the Drider Man. Drider Man is a character in my game. Don't ask, that's maybe for another video. But yeah, so these items here, they can buy them, and it will just go into their inventory and take off the gold. And you can adjust the prices if you want them to, you know, sell for more or less uniformly. And you can also restock them, populate from roll table. So I have roll tables for every vendor that I created, these roll tables, and so I can populate their stock, basically. Every time the players go back to town, I replenish the stock and randomize all the items on all of their sort of wares. So my players are like encouraged to visit the vendors anytime they go to town, because there might be something really cool they don't know. So yeah, so this is, yeah, Drakkenheim landing page is the module, which I suppose I'd drop a link to it, because I don't actually, it's not on the Foundry sort of list of modules. You have to search Reddit for it, basically. But yeah, so this is something I made to just help DMs play a Drakkenheim campaign. Initially, I was running it in 5e. Now I'm running it in Pathfinder 2e. And so, you know, the latest forks of this sort of module are geared towards that. But yeah, so that's that. And this is a map that I created. You'll notice the clouds running across here. So yeah, this map does use grape juice isometrics. It seems to work okay for the moment. I had some problems with tokens going flat, where it looked like they were sort of squash prone. A bit of a bug. So yeah, in my testing, I've sort of moved away from grape juice just because it's too weird and it really pulls us out of the scene when the tokens are doing weird stuff. I'd rather not have anything like that. I do like the clouds, how they run crossways though. I think it looks really good. So we'll see. We'll see if we keep using grape juice. So yeah, this map here, this is just basically a single image. None of these are tiles. So someone else made this map, and God bless them because it looks incredible. I forget his name, but you can search up Emberwood isometric map on Reddit and you'll find it. And so, yeah, it looks wonderful. So the thing about having an image of isometric map, a flat image, if I move this token here, he sort of goes through and on top of the building, right? So there's not much. The scale here, just forget about the scale because this is, you know, the tokens would be tiny if I put them to scale. But yeah, so basically, so long as it on a big map like this, if they're not going to go behind the buildings, this is town. I don't expect much combat to be happening here. It's kind of just a place for them to walk between locations, sort of like an overworld map, to you know, so they can have their little role-playing encounters with the NPCs, which are all sort of hanging out, you know, around by the church and stuff. So yeah, this map here, I wouldn't have a battle on. So if I go to a battle map, this is one that I've already made. So we'll go to battle map 1N. So this one here is, these are all tiles. The original map for this is that purple thing you see underneath. So using grape juice isometric, I have gone into the settings of this, just like he recommends. I've turned off the padding percentage, I've increased the scene dimensions, and I've enabled isometric mode, background image, top down, new tiles, make them true isometric. So anytime I put a tile on this map, like if I want to find, let's say, another building here, we will go into here and grab a map kit. Let's throw down some rubble. So there, we've put some refuse at the end of the street. So these are all tiles like that. The walls have been set up in such a way that they skirt around the edge of the building only. Some of these are invisible walls because I want them to be able to see the buildings, just not walk, like clip through them. So if we grab a token here, like grab Shikari, you'll notice like the lighting looks really good with the walls set up, but he can still see the building because of the way that grape juice sort of handles tiles. This one here is a tile that is connected to this wall, and so it has like special occlusion settings. It's really hard to select this on this mode. Yeah, we'll double click on this one. So yeah, in this setting here, this is a different one. I think I've selected a tree behind the building here, but you can attach the tile to the walls and then it will only occlude, it'll only hide itself if the tokens go behind it. So, and it does some fancy occlusion effects. So if I move Shikari here, we'll zoom in and you'll see when he clips through, it'll show he's actually darkened here. You can change those settings, but that's just the default. If I then move him behind the building, we can't see him, but if I move to a certain point, grape juice will hide this building so I can see, oh, there's a tree here and like a little graveyard or something. And so, yeah, that's kind of how that works. And that's only for him. So anyone else, they still see the building, but this guy, he doesn't see it. So that's sort of the benefit of using tiles, and I really liked this. I liked this because it was fast. I just took an existing map that I had, and then I chucked down some tiles. I slapped on some walls, and then I just connected the tiles to the walls, and it was done. Like, that's a map done. I'm not going to color these or anything like that. And this purple map here, it's a published map that came from the Drakkenheim sort of PDF. So yeah, it was like, it took me like 20 minutes to do this. So I was really encouraged about this. I thought this is great. But as I started running into these weird issues of like tokens squashing themselves flat because they would sort of stop being popped up like this, and I haven't quite managed to get the handle on fixing that yet. And I've heard a few other users have sort of moved away from grape juice just because it is quite hinky sometimes trying to maintain something like that, especially with Foundry, as there are new versions coming out. It'll just break everything. So the Kickfoot, or the Dungeon Sketcher, he showed me his campaign and he said that he just uses normal Foundry. He doesn't use isometric mode. So I've been testing that. And so here we have Tristram from Diablo. So this is a map from Epic Isometric. Wonderful. And I'm using this next session because I had to find an excuse to use this map. I love this game so much. I have so many good memories of playing Diablo. So we've got some Tristram music. Yeah, stay a while and listen. So this map here isn't using grape juice. This is just normal. It looks isometric, but enable isometric mode is turned off. So this is just a normal map. And the tokens are a little bit different. The setup for them is different, right? Because normally, if I drag, say, who should we grab? Let's not do Umric. Let's do Shikari again. This guy, right? So I drag him down. His token is like this, and on a top-down sort of map, that works. But if I use a module called Token Variant Art, where you can set up a little menu you can quickly toggle between. That's really handy. If, like me, you're running a setup where you've got some maps using top-down and some isometric, we can just quickly switch to that. He's super tiny, okay? Because, you know, this token, it goes to the edge. Normally, you'd be looking at something like this where it fills the entire space, and so you can see his face, and that makes sense to people. But as soon as you turn it into this guy, he's now so small that, look at this door, you know, he looks like a pixie or something. It's not right. And so if we increase the scale of the grid, then his token will look the right size, but he's gonna cross this field in like 2 seconds flat because these grid squares are going to be massive. So I had to sort of figure this out, and what I did was I created this macro where if I just press the number 2 now, that will toggle between scaling his token up and down. And I'll post a link to like a JSON download for this, but it's a really simple macro. Basically, any controlled tokens, they will be able to do that. So when I have a new map, most of the maps I run are going to be top down because I've only just this week got into making isometric maps, so I don't have a lot of them built yet. But yeah, so I drag, look at this is my party, isn't that cute? Drag them in, right click, we'll bust out the whole party. This is for my Pathfinder peeps, they'll know how handy that is. So then the tokens are here, right? I was thinking of making a macro where I could select them and switch them. I know I'm going to do that because I know just what I'm going to do. But for the moment, we're just going to one by one click through, and we'll change them all to their little isometric tokens. So here we go. It doesn't take long. Other benefit of having token variant art, this guy, Breeze is a monk, and he was possessed by basically off-brand venom, like diet venom. His name's Vicious. He transforms into him, and so he becomes really big and cool looking. So I can easily switch his token to that if I want to. Alright, let's go grab this guy. Okay, so we're switching them all over. So now they're super tiny. I can select them. I press 2, and they're all gonna, like little growing flowers, they bloom. So now they're ready for an adventure, right? So this assumes we've just created this map, and we've dragged our tokens in. The next step that you would want to do is do the walls, right? Because I mean, it would you could get by without it, like I did with the Emberwood map, where they can just clip through things. But if I'm planning on having some battles here, and I want them to be able to hide behind these buildings and stuff, but to do that, because the art is isometric, but the map isn't, I had to sort of figure out how to do this. So what I did was I set up terrain walls around the entire building, and then the top wall I selected all of them, I went in and I turned off movement restriction, just the top wall. So what that means is we have a token like Clicker here, who sees the house, he wants to hide behind here, and he can do that. Because this isn't using grape juice, he's not occluding, which is sad, but I mean, it's pretty good for just standard Foundry, without adding a host of bugs to my game. So if I press down now, he can't go through the building. That's because I've added another wall here. This wall here is an invisible wall. So I put an invisible wall around the top, sort of where the building meets the ground, where I imagine it would. It doesn't have to be exactly right. And then the top edge of the building, the entire building, I put a terrain wall with movement restriction turned off. So yeah, basically I've done that for all of these buildings. And once I had built one sort of building like lengthways and one sort of lengthways the other way building, I then just copy paste. So I sort of made 2 of them, and then I just pasted them on the others, and then I went through and just edited all of their dimensions. So I'll show you how to do that now. Let's delete one of them, undo some of my good work, and we'll make it again. So this one over here, we'll go in here. Let's select all of those walls and just delete them, right? So we've got this building here. It's a good sort of basic shape. So we'll copy that. And then you want to select sort of the top corner where it sort of meets both, and just like Control-Shift-Paste. That should put it in approximately the right place. We'll select that, we'll drag it down. And then we just go about dragging these points. If you need a new point, you just double click, it will make a new one. And we'll do that again, so that we have some nice terrain walls that these peeps can't walk through. So we'll just put them on the edges there. And this building's a bit of different shape, so we'll drag some new corners in. And so this takes just seconds. Very easy. Once you've done like 1 or 2 buildings, you can just copy paste and you're good to go. So I just want to check this edge movement is off. That's great. Wonderful. So that whole building is set up again from scratch, and it took like 5 seconds. So wonderful. Then I've gone in, I've set some lights on here. These lights are set up just the default configuration, but what I like to do is change the darkness activation range and set it to 0.4. What that means is if there are people in this town, they're going to turn these lights on when it gets dark. I sort of like it to have just the default light, and then there we go, it's nighttime. They turn their lights on, you know, because otherwise you have them in the day and it just casts way too much sort of bloom on everything for no reason. So that looks great. We've got all these little homes with people in there chilling. I put one light on every sort of window there just because I'm extra like that. I wanted the windows to glow. So this is this whole map. So if we were going to do a different map, this is a dungeon map that I haven't actually done any work on it yet. I've put some lights on here. Otherwise it's pretty dark and dingy. So a dungeon map, I have small time, which connects the darkness level of a scene to the time of day. So I don't need to make it day, make it night. This will gradually sort of change the overlay, the darkness overlay of the scene. So, but for your underground maps, when they're in a dungeon, you don't want it to be brighter just because it's daytime outside. So we turn off darkness control, this little toggle, and we'll just manually turn the darkness to whatever level we want. I don't want it to be pitch black in here, so I'm just gonna make that like a 0.8. I want people, you know, there's gonna be some ambient light. There'll be some torches in other rooms or whatever. That might be just casting a shadow down the corridor. And a human, we have like just 2 in the group, I think, that don't have dark vision. They should be able to at least make out rough shapes of how the corridors look, right? So we'll grab Luca here. So once again, we'll swap to his token. We'll press 2. He's going to grow in size, and now he's to scale for the scene. And so Luca, this is a little module, I think it's just called Torch, where basically it'll give them a button where they can equip their torch. I really like it. It's quite simple. For these maps here, what I've seen the Kickfoot do is he will put a wall along the top edge of these. No, not like the right color, is it? Yeah, no more. Great. So, benefit of putting it along the top is when you're in the scene, you get to see the wall when you're on the other side. So I'm just going to do this one. We'll change this one to a door. So yeah, here's a basic wall. Let me just sort of reset the fog of war on this so you can see what it would look like for the first time. So he sees this wall from this side, he opens the door. It's not going to delete the wall because it's a flat map, but that's fine. Use your imagination. He gets to the other side and he can sort of see the top edge here of this wall. So that wall we might just put a little bit further down because I want him to sort of see that there is a wall there at the very least. So we'll grab Luca. So he's going to jump to the water. So yeah, you can see the edge of the wall here when he goes through to the other side. It's that. So that's basically what you would do around the whole dungeon, you know, putting walls through this. And so this is a really simple way to have an isometric map with isometric tokens without using any special module to do it. You're just using the default and changing the scale of the token, because otherwise he would look like he can't, like he wants upsies. He wants someone to please open the door for him because he needs to go to the bathroom. Okay, like let's give the man his dignity. Okay, he can open his own door. Let's open that up. So yeah, this is I hope that's, I think I've covered off pretty much everything that I needed to on this as far as isometric stuff. So let's look at something else that I made just for funsies. So for my top-down maps, I use something called multi-level tokens, right? Multi-level tokens, it lets you teleport tokens around the map. So what I've done here, I've created this huge map and it's just blank. Okay, it's the grid size is massive, but there's no background image on this. These images here are actually tiles. And what I've done is I've put 2 versions of the same map from CZPiku, because my players were going to meet this world's Baba Yaga, essentially. And so let's just do something here. Move these dudes over to there. And this will look weird for a second, but it'll all become clear in a moment. Let me move them back here. So, right, multi-level tokens. I've set up these little zones. These are just drawings, right? It's just, I've drawn a square here. Go into the square, click on multi-level. You give it a name, like a unique identifier, and then you tick in and out on the teleporter, and you hit save. You copy paste that to the other map, and basically you're done. Okay, so like this is now an in-out teleporter that goes from one end of the hut chicken to the other. One end of the drawing named hut chicken to the other. So I've got two of these sets of teleport zones. The other one is Hut Mountain. Right? So this is what happened the other night. We played this game. They went to visit their druid friend, and they said, we need to go to the Glimmer Peak Mountains, and we need to get there fast. You're a druid, can you help? Because they had no recourse. They're only level 5 or whatever, so they don't have a lot of powerful friends at the moment. And so they had this big scene. The druid then said, like, she hasn't done this in a while, but, you know, gather around me and we will, I will lengthen your stride as you so wish. And they were all nervous as to what that meant. They probably thought she was going to turn them into like some sort of giraffe creature or something, change shape, you know, we know what druids do. So, let's just change the time of day to midday. Sometimes that bounces back for weird reasons. Small time's been a bit hinky lately. Yeah, wiggle it. It's insistent. Oh, this thing. Here you go. Let's just click on the light and go transition to daylight. Is that going to help? Maybe I'm just asking the scene to do too much. Alright, let's refresh this. It's gone weird. Still here. Thank you for sharing this time with me. There we go. Get rid of all these warnings. Alright. Back at it. So, let's turn off our Tristram. I have Sirenscape, sort of siren control, the module. And so that connects my Foundry instance to my Sirenscape account, I suppose. So what that does is I can play Sirenscape with macros. So I've got Dismal Day in the forest. And it's got some ambience and some sounds. We got like a nice wind effect coming through the trees there. So that helped with the description as we approached. I will lay these macros out in a row with the scenes that I have planned for that session, right? And I usually prep way too much, of course. So they only really got to the first two because they chatted a lot, you know. But I had plans. If they breezed through it, they could have got to the very end of it. Right, so what they did, they approached our druid friend. She, I'll gloss over it. She did this thing. She reached into the ground and she whispered to the earth and she said, "Can you hear me? Are you there?" And then I said, "She utters words that are so ancient and powerful that you've only heard them in fairy tales." And I have these two macros here. Let me put this one back actually. So this one's using a module called Earthquake. Yeah, let's put it there. I need to unlock. There we go. So she plunged her hands in, and then I press 1, dimmed the scene, and I press 2. And I switched to the other scene with a little multi-level tokens button. And so from the player's perspective, they saw the scene dimmed. They had behold, which I narrated, you know, I am the mother of forests, the deathless mother, nesting in dreams. Turn your back to the forest, hut, hut. Turn your front to me, hut, hut. And then when the screen undimmed, the whole scene had changed. It looked the same, but was slightly different in many profound ways. Her hut, I then described how it had climbed up out of the earth and it had chicken feet, and they all knew what this meant, and it was this huge moment. I actually wanted to record it, but I was desperately afraid that if I recorded, then it would mess up something with my microphone and my players wouldn't hear me narrate. I thought, I'm not going to ruin this moment for me. So that happened. And then after that, they had a little encounter. She said, hop aboard and we'll take you south. And I hit the button, and now they're in another map, and her little hut is sort of packed down, and they're in the snowy mountains. So that's multi-level tokens. That's something that I use for having multiple maps on a single scene if it's top-down, right? So it works beautifully, and CZPiku make such great maps that, I'm really pleased with how that went. I'm going to keep using top-down maps. This sort of hybrid setup. Some of the maps isometric. I think it works really well. So the last map that I'll show you, this is one that I haven't finished yet, but this is a clock tower, and it has multiple levels. And this, once again, I am building just as a normal, non-isometric, non-sort of tile mode. It's just normal Foundry. I can probably turn off that. I did have isometric mode, but I don't think I need it. So we'll turn that off. And so this whole map here, basically, I've just built in Clip Studio Paint with epic isometric assets, and I put them on top of the map from the Drakkenheim book. So I've built this level by level, and I've used those maps from the book as sort of a guide for what I want on each level. The top ones, like I say, I haven't finished this yet. I've got some work to do. But this, I'm hoping that, much like what I did with Tristram, that this map here will just work, and it looks great, and they'll be able to sort of navigate up these stairs and figure out, oh no, there's collapse here, and it's just, I could do multi-level tokens for this and have 7 maps, but the top-down maps don't really look that great, especially if I'm having 7 layers of them. I really think having that perspective, especially with a tower of this size, really helps, just to illustrate that effect. So that's that. Thank you. If you've gotten this far, bless you, because I've probably said a lot more than I thought I was going to. So I am ArdisFoxx. I'm an artist. I'm a dungeon master. I have a Patreon where I do sort of spicy character art and fan art and pin-ups and stuff like that. Otherwise, I do art commissions of D&D and sort of like fantasy character art. So, thanks for watching, and peace.